Sometime in late 2007, the media was going wild with the latest breaking news about one of the most respected managers in the English Premier League. Spoiler alert, it was Jose Mourinho, and he'd just resigned from his role as Chelsea manager as a result of differences between him and the owner of the club, Roman Abramovich. At the time, he casually mentioned that he'd like to manage in Italy at some point, but there was nothing concrete in the works. Over the next 8 months, Jose took a break from football as the 2007-08 season progressed, vacationing and following the game from the sidelines. By the end of that season, he got what he wanted, an offer from Italy. Before his resignation from Chelsea, Jose had previously managed 3 clubs in Portugal: Benfica, União de Leiria and Porto. He was only at Benfica for a very short while, and he spent less than a year at Leiria too. Porto was where he really started to shine, winning the UEFA Cup, the Champions League, and back-to-back league titles within a couple of years. It was the reason for his appointment at Chelsea, where he also won a lot of domestic success. Back to the new offer. Jose wanted the Serie A, and the Serie A came for him. It was in the form of Inter Milan, who'd just released Roberto Mancini from his contract as manager of the club. Jose accepted the offer almost as soon as it came, and he was off to Italy. Milan is the second most populous city in Italy after Rome. It is home to 2 of the country's biggest football clubs, Inter and AC Milan. The stadium shared by both clubs, the Stadio Giuseppe Meazza, commonly known as the San Siro, has a seating capacity of over 80,000, which makes it the largest stadium in Italy and one of the largest in Europe. Inter have been playing their home games at the San Siro since 1947, and they continue to share tenancy with rivals Milan to this day. Unlike the situation of his previous jobs, Jose did not have a rebuilding job to do at Inter Milan. They were coming off the back of 3 straight league title wins under Roberto Mancini, so this was a team that was already accustomed to winning trophies. However, despite their impressive run in domestic competitions, Inter was starved of European success. To be fair, they won the UEFA Cup 3 times in the 90s, but the closest they'd come to winning the UEFA Champions League, since it was rebranded in 1992, was a semi-final loss in 2003. Perhaps this tiny bit of info was in the back of the mind of the hierarchy at San Siro when they let Mancini go. They saw the opportunity to bring in a manager who'd proved himself with a relatively weaker team in Europe, and they took that opportunity. As it turned out, that decision proved to be a smart one. In Jose's first season, there were no major departures in the transfer window. David Suazo was allowed to leave on loan to Benfica, but he was a rotation option at best anyway, so it was no major loss. On the other hand, Jose brought in a few new faces to freshen up the squad. Most notably, Ricardo Quaresma was signed for €24.6 million, a lot of money at the time. Sali Montari, Mancini and Luis Jimenez were also brought in for a combined fee of €38 million. Of these 4 players, only Sali Montari managed to become a fixture in the starting 11, starting 35 games in all competitions that year. The rest of the signings had to make do with squad player or backup roles, at least for the first year. Significantly more business was done in the transfer window of Jose's second season though. Inter made a fortune for the sale of their star man, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, to Barcelona. He left for €69.5 million, and Samuel Eto'o went the other way for €20 million. The rest of that Zlatan money, including cash made from other players' sales, was reinvested in strengthening the overall squad in key areas. In fact, 5 players signed in that window turned out to be important members of the starting 11 in the 09-10 season. Diego Milito, Wesley Sneijder, Thiago Motta and Lucio all joined Ito at the club for a combined fee of €60.2 million. It was a heavy investment, but they barely even had to dip into their own transfer kitty. In his first season, Jose simply picked up where Mancini had left off. Inter won the league fairly easily, finishing 10 points ahead of their runners-up, Juventus. In true Jose fashion, much of their domestic success was down to impeccable home form. Inter did not lose a game at home in the 08-09 season. They picked up a total of 84 points in the league, and 47 of those points came from home games. The defence, led by Lucio, only conceded 32 goals in 38 games. It was important for the situations where the team had to grind out wins, as reflected in the fact that they won 13 games with a 1-goal margin over the course of the season. They were less successful in other competitions though. They got knocked out by Sampdoria in the semi-finals of the Italian Cup, and they also lost to Manchester United in the round of 16 of the Champions League. Fast forward to the next season, and it was business as usual in the league. Inter won back-to-back league titles with Jose, their 5th Serie A title in a row. This time it was much closer than the previous season. The club was sitting in second position on match day 35, but they managed to take advantage of a couple of drop points from Roma in the final 3 games to snatch the lead that they'd maintained for a large part of the season. They finished the season with 82 points, 2 points ahead of Roma in second place. Again, Inter remained unbeaten at home, thanks to a solid defence and a more than respectable attack. While the defensive unit of Maicon, Zanetti and Lucio and Walter Samuel kept things watertight at the back, Diego Milito and Samuel Ito carried the attack, scoring 34 league goals between them in Jose's final season. Winning the league might have become a minimum expectation at that point, but Inter's league title win in the 09-10 season was made extra special by the club's performance in Europe. This was undoubtedly the most important achievement of Jose's 2 years at Inter. In fact, it remains one of the biggest achievements of his career as a whole. Inter were drawn in the same UEFA Champions League group with Barcelona, but they got the luck of the draw with the other 2 teams in the group, Rubin Kazan and Dynamo Kiev. The 2 games against Barcelona yielded a 0-0 draw at home and a 2-0 loss away, but positive results against the other teams helped Inter to qualify from the group stage as expected. 9 points in 6 games proved to be enough for a second-place group stage finish, and a round of 16 tie against Jose's former club, Chelsea. That Chelsea team, led by Carlo Ancelotti, contained world beaters such as John Terry, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba and Michael Ballack, but they lost both legs of the tie against Inter, 0-1 at home and 2-1 away. The quarterfinals draw was a little kinder, a tie against CSKA Moscow. Again, Inter won both legs of the tie, 1-0 at home and away. There's nothing I wouldn't give to have been in the room with the squad when it was confirmed that they would be facing Barcelona again, this time in the semi-finals. I mean, this was a team that had world-class players in every position, including former Interman Zlatan Ibrahimovic. A certain Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi was also part of the team, and their midfield included an all-time great Xavi Hernandez. Inter had the home advantage in the first leg tie, and they used it to maximum effect. Despite conceding the first goal of the game nearly halfway through the first half, they managed to turn things around and win the game 3-1. Diego Milito was crucial, continuing his fine form in the knockout stages, with his 4th goal of the tournament. He also assisted the other 2 goals scored by Maicon and Wesley Sneijder. They did lose the second leg 1-0, but the 83rd minute goal from Peak was not enough to stop Inter from progressing to the Champions League final, even with Barca's away goal advantage. In the final, Inter Milan faced another strong contender in Bayern Munich. With Louis van Gaal at the helm, They won the domestic double with the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal that year, but they fell to Jose's men at the Santiago Bernabéu. Again, it was that man Milito that popped up with a brace to send the Inter supporters into raptures as they claimed their first UEFA Champions League trophy in front of over 70,000 spectators. That same year, Inter also won the Italian Cup, bringing the total number of trophies won by Jose with them to 5 within 2 years. Soon enough, there were rumours of interest from Real Madrid, and Jose Mourinho resigned as Inter's manager in April 2010 to pursue his next dream job. On an individual level, Jose won a few honours during his time at Inter, especially in the year that the club won the Champions League. Some of those honours include one-time FIFA World Coach of the Year, one-time IFFHS World's Best Club Coach, two-time Serie A Coach of the Year, one-time UEFA Team of the Year, one-time World Soccer Magazine World Manager of the Year. The almost casual manner by which Jose won league titles with Porto, Chelsea and then Inter is not talked about enough. It's almost as if when he joins a new club, it's the minimum expectation. On top of that, not a lot of managers can lay claim to the bragging rights of winning the Champions League with multiple clubs. But as we've seen over the years, Jose Mourinho enjoys proving time and again that he's not just any manager. He's one of the very best.